Okay, imagine a machine that literally never sleeps. It doesn't take breaks, it never clocks out, and it performs its single most critical function roughly 100,000 times every single day. If it stops, well, everything stops. We're talking about a vast, bustling transportation network operating right inside of you, and it's responsible for keeping absolutely every single cell in your body alive and thriving. Today, we are exploring this remarkable biological engine. Let's dive right into this massive, intricate network, the cardiovascular system. Also known as the circulatory system, you can think of this as the ultimate transportation highway of the human body. It relies on a phenomenal pump, a sprawling web of vessels, and a highly specialized fluid to sustain life. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the ultimate transport system, then the anatomy of the heart, followed by its electrical pacemaker, the double highway system, and finally, we'll unpack the cargo inside your blood. Starting right off with Section 1, the ultimate transport system, supplying the body. The whole point of this system is actually incredibly straightforward, yet it's monumentally important. Its main gig is supplying your body's cells with oxygen and essential nutrients, while simultaneously hauling away carbon dioxide and metabolic waste. And it pulls this off through a closed-circuit loop perfectly divided into two major divisions. First, there's the pulmonary circulation, where the heart sends deoxygenated blood to the lungs to drop off that carbon dioxide and pick up some fresh oxygen. Then, there's the systemic circulation, where that freshly oxygenated blood is forcefully delivered to the rest of your body before returning to the heart to start the whole cycle all over again. Now, to put the actual engine of this system into perspective, it weighs just 250 to 350 grams. That's roughly the size of your clenched fist. It sits perfectly protected right there in the thoracic cavity, nestled securely between your lungs and resting just above the diaphragm, with about 2/3 of its mass lying just a bit to the left of your midline. Let's move along to Section 2, Anatomy of the Heart, the double pump. It turns out the heart isn't just one big open room. Its internal architecture is actually divided into 4 distinct hollow chambers. You've got the 2 upper chambers, known as the right and left atria, and their job is simply to receive blood coming back to the heart. Right below them are the 2 lower chambers, the right and left ventricles, and these are the real powerhouses, responsible for pushing blood out. What's absolutely crucial here is that the left and right sides are totally separated by a solid muscular wall called a septum. This guarantees that your oxygen-rich and oxygen-poor blood never, ever mix. Now, because these chambers have totally different jobs, they're actually engineered differently. The right ventricle only needs to send blood next door to the lungs, right? So it pumps at a much lower pressure and has a relatively thin muscular wall. But the left ventricle? That thing has to blast blood out under immense pressure to reach every single extremity in your body, from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. To generate that kind of incredible force, the wall of the left ventricle is actually built 2 to 3 times thicker than the right one. If we peel back the physical layers of the heart wall itself, we find 3 distinct layers. On the very outside, you have the epicardium, which is the visceral layer of the protective sac surrounding the heart. In the middle is the myocardium. This is the super thick striated cardiac muscle tissue that's actually doing all the heavy lifting of the contracting. And finally, lining the inside of those chambers is the endocardium. It's a smooth, thin membrane that ensures blood flows totally seamlessly without snagging or clotting. Now, to make absolutely sure blood only flows in one direction and never goes backward, the heart uses 4 vital connective tissue valves. You have 2 atrioventricular valves, the tricuspid on the right and the mitral on the left, plus 2 semilunar valves, the aortic and the pulmonary. When those heavy-duty ventricles contract, the internal pressure is immense. So to prevent the atrioventricular valves from blowing backward into the atria, kind of like a flimsy umbrella in a windstorm, they are tightly tethered by fine parachute-like cords called chordae tendineae. These cords are securely anchored to sturdy muscles projecting right out of the ventricle walls. Which brings us to Section 3, the electrical pacemaker, a beat of its own. Here is something really wild. Your heart doesn't actually wait for a signal from your conscious brain to tell it to beat. It has its very own built-in electrochemical system. This entire conductive pathway relies on 4 main stations. It all sparks at the SA node up in the right atrium. That's your natural pacemaker. The spark travels to the AV node on the back wall, shoots down the bundle of His right through the septum, and finally spreads up the outer walls through the Purkinje fibers. This sequential, perfectly timed electrical wave guarantees the upper atria contract first, immediately followed by a powerful squeeze from the lower ventricles. It's an automatic, flawless rhythm driving those 100,000 daily beats. All right, Section 4, the double highway system. Let's look at the arteries, veins, and capillaries. Think of your blood vessels as a massive, perfectly specialized two-way highway. Arteries are your outbound lanes. They carry blood away from the heart. Because they take the direct, forceful blast from the ventricles, arteries are built incredibly tough. They have thick, muscular, elastic walls designed to handle high pressure. Veins, on the flip side, are the inbound lanes, bringing blood back to the heart. By the time blood reaches the veins, the pressure has dropped way down. So veins have thinner, less muscular walls. And because of that low pressure, they rely on internal one-way valves to stop blood from pooling or flowing backward, lazily but steadily guiding it back home. Connecting those outbound arteries and inbound veins, we have the capillaries. These are the absolute end of the line. They are the smallest, thinnest blood vessels in the human body. In fact, they are so fragile, their walls are literally just one single cell thick. But that extreme thinness, it's an absolute masterclass in design. It allows oxygen and nutrients to diffuse straight out of the blood and right into the surrounding cells, while cellular waste, like carbon dioxide, effortlessly diffuses right back into the blood to be hauled away. The capillaries are where the actual magic of life-sustaining exchange happens. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the cargo. Inside, blood. Blood isn't just some simple liquid, It's a highly complex fluid tissue. More than half of its volume is made up of a yellowish liquid called plasma. And get this, plasma is 90% water. Let that sink in. That staggering number proves exactly why staying properly hydrated is an absolute necessity. If you're dehydrated, your plasma volume drops, making your blood thicker and forcing your heart to work significantly harder just to pump it through those miles of vessels. Suspended right there in that watery plasma are three highly specialized types of cellular cargo. First, you've got billions of erythrocytes, or red blood cells. They have a really unique biconcave disc-like shape to increase their surface area, and they actually ditch their nucleus to make more room for hemoglobin, the pigment that carries oxygen. Next up, we have leukocytes, or white blood cells. These are larger, irregularly shaped, and keep their nucleus. Think of them as your body's cellular soldiers, constantly hunting down invading bacteria and viruses. And finally, thrombocytes, or platelets. These are just tiny cell fragments, but they are crucial for forming clots and scabs whenever a vessel gets damaged, rushing in to patch up leaks and prevent severe blood loss. When you pull back and look at the whole shebang, seeing all of this work together really highlights the sheer brilliance of double circulation. From the powerful squeeze of that thick left ventricle out through the high-pressure arteries, diffusing right across the microscopic one-cell-thick capillaries, gently riding the valved veins back to the right atrium, only to be pumped into the lungs and back again. It is a seamless, closed-circuit cycle of pumping, transporting, exchanging, and returning without a single moment of rest. Yet for all its brilliance, this engine is fragile. It's highly susceptible to disease and blockages. In fact, heart failure is still the #1 cause of an early demise globally. Everything we do, what we eat, how we move, how much water we drink, directly impacts this delicate system. So it leaves us with one incredibly critical question to ponder today. Given all the tireless work it does to keep every single cell in your body alive, how well are you protecting your 100,000 beat a day engine?